Hello and welcome to this edition of Africa Speaks. My name is Joy Doreen Bira and I'm glad to be back. And I hope we're going to have a great show today. I would like to start by saying a big thank you to John Alanamu, who has been holding fort for me while I was away on maternity leave. But all the same, it's good to be back and good to see you all who are watching us right now on KTN. Now let's start by taking a look at some of the top stories making news across the continent.
Nigerian citizens are casting their votes today in a tightly contested election between incumbent Goodluck Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari. It is said to be the most closely fought election since independence in the continent's most populous nation. The election was delayed by 6 weeks to allow the Nigerian army recapture territory from militant Islamist group Boko Haram. Incumbent Goodluck Jonathan of PDP party is a Christian Southerner and making his second term bid, while his biggest contender Muhammadu Buhari from the APC party, a Muslim Northerner, is making his fourth presidential bid. 10 people have been killed in the gun battle at the Makkah Al Mukarramah hotel, including the Somali ambassador to Switzerland, Yusuf Baribari. Other diplomats are said to have escaped by jumping through the windows, and latest reports on Friday night indicated that the militants are now on top floors and the roof firing guns, throwing grenades. US-trained Somali special forces have been able to take back control of most of the hotel that was attacked.
And those are some of the stories making headlines across the country. Now let's get back to the biggest story of the day. Today, March the 28th, is the day Nigeria holds its presidential election, and a lot is at stake because Nigeria is the largest economy on the continent. Nigerians choosing between incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari. Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan and the main opposition candidate Buhari on Thursday signed a pledge in the presence of former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan for peaceful elections in an effort to prevent violence after the polls. And this is the second pledge made in 3 months, with the first signed in January this year. And remember, in 2011, hundreds of people were killed in violence after Jonathan beat Buhari to the presidency. But this time, the duo has pledged to respect the outcome of free, fair and credible elections. And now joining us live from Kano State in Nigeria is Robert Nagila. Robert, if you can hear me, thank you so much for joining us. What is the situation on the ground right now?
Well, thank you very much. The process kicked off at about 8 o'clock this morning. Having said that, there have been quite a few delays. The system is a bit different from what we're used to in Kenya. Here you first go through the verification process, which entails ensuring that you are registered, that your card is valid, and then you have to wait until later in the afternoon to start to cast your vote. Now, there's been quite a few delays in terms of accreditation. At the polling station that I am in, the primary school called Badawa, the accreditation process has not begun. We've witnessed this in several other polling stations within Kano. The reason being for this is that the election officials themselves have yet to arrive at most of them. Here they arrived about 5 to 10 minutes ago, so we expect that process to kick off shortly. What this basically means is that the voting process will kick off, we expect at about 4 p.m. this afternoon, well into the night, and will carry on until the last person on the line has voted. But so far, it's been very peaceful. Most of the voters we've talked to have been very, very patient and say that they're willing to wait. They just want to exercise their democratic right. However, we have had reports from the state of Enugu, the police there, saying that they have foiled a car bomb attempt. No one appears to have been injured in that. No other reports from the northern portion of the country in terms of any attacks.
And from your observation, what is the voter turnout like? Because what we have seen across the country, there are over 68 million registered voters. And knowing Kano State has previously been attacked by Boko Haram militia, what exactly is the voter turnout there?
turnout appears to be impressive. All the polling stations that I've visited this morning, there were hundreds, literally hundreds of people waiting to go through that accreditation process. And on the streets as well, there were literally hundreds of people making their way to the polling stations that they had registered in. Now, here in Kanye, from midnight Thursday, there was the security committee here banned any movement of vehicles coming into the state itself and within the state itself. So no private vehicles are allowed on the roads until after voting has taken place. So everybody's basically making their way to the polling stations on foot. The turnout, like I said, is impressive, although the process, as I said earlier, has yet to kick off in most of the polling stations.
Right. And the elections were set for the 14th of February, but of course voting was postponed to today. That is because the Nigerian army said that they had to recapture some of the territories that had been previously captured by Boko Haram. And has this affected the voting process from your point of view?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because we're looking at about 3 million people who have been displaced from their homes directly as a result of the insurgency by Boko Haram. Now, we estimate that roughly half that number, about 1.5 million people, are in neighboring countries, that is Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, and these are the same countries that are helping Nigeria in this fight against Boko Haram. Then you have the other half who are in camps in Nigeria itself and within certain communities. Now, only those who are registered will be able to take part in this election process. Unfortunately, quite a few of those who are displaced but in Nigeria at this particular moment are in camps which are not registered or with relatives in other communities that are not in the north. Speaking to the Electoral Commission 2 days ago, I did put this question to them as to how many people they thought would not be able to take part in the election process amongst those that have been displaced. They too were unable to give us a concrete figure on that. So we will only be able to get a clear picture of exactly how many people actually took part in the process once the tallying of the results has been done.
Right, and we also know that, you know, the last term of President Goodluck Jonathan has been quite a tough one. A lot of expectations from Nigerians, especially with the terror attacks and also hate and corruption in the continent's most populous nation. What are some of the Nigerians expecting around this time?
Well, the one major thing that really comes out immediately is there's a lot of people, especially in the north, asking that it's taken almost 6 years for this military offensive, which has been very successful, I might add, over the last 4 weeks. The coalition forces have had a string of victories, and just 24 hours earlier, the military announced that it has taken over or recaptured Boko Haram's stronghold in Gordon. So a lot of people here are asking why it's taken so long, and people actually reading mischief into this. However, the government of President Goodluck Jonathan says that circumstances did not allow this operation at that particular time, and they said that one of the reasons why they launched this military offensive in the last 4 weeks was to create a conducive atmosphere where voters in the north could then be able to participate in this election, and that's the reason they say we're now having this election at this particular moment. They believe that the situation is now conducive for this election to take place, at least in most parts of northeastern Nigeria. Having said that, there are still skeptics, not just in the north, in the south as well, and you could say that as a result of this, Goodluck Jonathan's rival Muhammadu Buhari has gained a lot of support. A lot of experts now saying that this race is too close to call. Some saying that it may go to a second round. We'll have to wait and see what the results will say about that. However, like I said, experts saying that the race at the moment is too close to call.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. We do appreciate the update, and do take care. We'll be getting in touch with you as and when we need the updates. Well, thank you so much. That was Robert Nagila, a journalist, giving us an update from Kano State in Nigeria. And joining me in studio now to talk more about Nigeria and the elections, and of course what the expectations of Nigerians are around this time, are Joe Oladimeji Ojo, who is a PDP supporter, and we also have Ikechukwu Arthur Anoke, did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Yes, who is an APC supporter. Thank you both for joining us, and it's such a pleasure to have you in studio discuss Nigeria elections. We're using the hashtag Nigeria Decides. Do you think President Goodluck Jonathan deserves another term in office? If yes, if no, what are your reasons? Our hashtag is Africa Speaks, so do get in touch with us on those platforms. I'll start with Ike. Why are you supporting Muhammadu Buhari to start with, and what are your expectations from him?
Muhammadu Buhari is the change Nigeria needs. I believe after 60 years of PDP misrule and the disastrous 6 years of Goodluck Jonathan, we believe that Buhari is the person who will set us right, who will change the course of our history. So Buhari is the person.
But this is the fourth time he is contending or vying for presidency. He didn't go through the first time, second time, the third time. What makes you think he's going to win the election this time around?
Obviously, things are, Nigerians are fed up. It's clear, from when he started to run in 2003, everybody said he was a fundamentalist, he's a Muslim terrorist, and military dictator. But today, Nigerians have come to realize that this is all a ploy to stop an honest, courageous man from ascending the leadership of Nigeria. So the election is done. Buhari has actually won this election. Clearly, Nigerians have spoken, and it's very clear. Moving the election from February 14th to March 28th, this was an attempt by the PDP to buy time. But
is it really an attempt? Is that how you're looking at it? Or was it one way of trying to avoid terror attacks that might have happened during that time?
What could the government have done in 6 weeks that they didn't do in 6 years? So obviously it is an attempt to delay, to gain some momentum for the president. But you see, an idea, it's clear right now. Everybody is very clear that Buhari will win this election, and Nigerians have come out together to say, time for change is now, and we need change.
Well, around this time, there are estimations that Goodluck Jonathan's support is at 42%, and Muhammadu Buhari's support as well is at 42%. So it's too close a call, just like Robert Nagila did mention. Let me come to you, Joel. Why do you think Goodluck Jonathan deserves another term? Because honestly, we've seen hate and corruption, and we've seen a lot of terror attacks during his term in office.
Thank you very much, Joy. I must tell you sincerely, right from the bottom of my heart, that Jonathan is going to win this election. The margin might be very, very close. There's no doubt about that. But I want to tell you, and I want to tell the world, I want to tell the whole Africa, that Buhari is not a change we need in Nigeria. Buhari can never be a change in Nigeria. It's just about changing of a vehicle from one vehicle to the other. Doesn't mean a change. If I'm a driver in a vehicle and I change to another vehicle, doesn't mean the driver is changed. Buhari is not a change that we need in Nigeria. Yes, we need a change in Nigeria, but Jonathan can make that change. Change can come from anywhere. Jonathan can make that change. Buhari has a record in Nigeria. I know Buhari very well since when I was very young. I know the atrocities that he has committed in Nigeria. I know Buhari is the one who has driven us 20 years behind in our democratic life.
How would you say he has driven you 20 years behind, yet he has never even been president?
He was the head of state. Buhari was a military head of state. He was an illegitimate leader because he overthrew the democratically elected government of Shehu Shagari in 1983, December 31st, 1983. There was no reason for the military coup. Military coup can happen during the military era. They can take over from one another. We don't care about that. But a democratically elected government of Shagari, Nigeria spent billions of naira to conduct the election. The man won the election. He was the president of Nigeria. This gentleman called Buhari overthrown his government without any reason, and there's nobody up to today. It's a treasonable offense for a government to be overthrown anywhere in the world.
Right. All right. Let's now just take a look at the past 5 years, and let's evaluate what President Goodluck Jonathan has done in the past 5 years. Are there any specific achievements that you would accrue to his presidency?
Right. I would not say precisely that Jonathan has done so well. I wouldn't say that he has done 100%. He has done all he has tried his best. To the best of my knowledge, he has done a lot for Nigeria. Nigeria economy is not badly off. The way he found the economy is growing, and Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa today.
It is the largest economy in Africa, but it is not really depicting the same thing when you look at the ordinary Nigerian. I'll give an example. To date, just 50% of Nigerians have access to electricity. Yet you are the largest economy, and you have the 9th largest oil reserves, is it gas reserves in the world? How is it that there's a half of the population in Nigeria that doesn't have access to basic rights?
This is unlimited to the government of Jonathan. This has been there, and we know we have this problem. We only need technocrats to deal with this problem. We don't need just a single man like Jonathan. Jonathan needs the support of you, myself, and himself, and every Nigerian to advise him, to give him, good, adequate advice for him to be able to govern properly. But let me tell you.
Do you agree with that?
I totally disagree. And I'll tell you something. You see, leadership, at the end of the day, the buck falls on the table of the president. You see, the body language, the biggest problem we have is corruption. The body language of the president encourages corruption. This is somebody who said on air, and it's everywhere, that stealing by government officials is not corruption. Then what do you make of that? You see, when he says development, I'll tell you that Jonathan actually has retarded our economic growth. Today, when Obasanjo left government, he left. He made history being the first. Nigeria became the first country that paid up all his debts to the Paris Club, and he left foreign reserves in the excess of $50 billion.
Right.
Today, and despite the fact that oil at that point sold from $9 a barrel, and the peak of Obasanjo's government, peak of the oil prices sold for about $45 a barrel. To Jonathan, with $110 per barrel, now we've accumulated internal debt is almost a trillion naira, and not to talk of our external debt growing almost to 14 billion. Our foreign reserves have been depleted to 29 billion. The naira today is the worst performing currency in the world. Our stock exchange, Dangote, just lost about $12 billion. Our stock exchange has crashed. And why? Because of corruption. High oil prices, no savings, squandered. Teachers are not paid on time. People are not paid. There's no power, electricity. And the president will tell you that because a lot of people own private jets in Nigeria, that's achievement. What else sort of economic growth is that?
All right, but at this point in time, yes, if you're saying President Goodluck Jonathan has failed Nigerians, let's look at the background of General Muhammadu Buhari. At this point in time, we're looking at his background being a military background. What makes you think that the economy is going to improve? What makes you think that he's going to fight corruption?
Buhari's attitude is about corruption fighting. This is somebody who's been head of state, somebody who's been Minister of Petroleum, somebody who's been a governor, and he owns a bungalow in Daura. He's where he's from. He is poor,
but
and everybody knows. Now, it means that personally, he abhors corruption. Personally abhors corruption. And let me make put some things very clear. Buhari didn't overthrow a civilian government. A government was overthrown, and Buhari was asked as a very honest military leader to come and lead the government. He accepted, and in the about 2 years he was head of state, a lot of corrupt politicians were jailed. Jonathan has not secured one conviction of corruption. Of anybody.
State.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Imagine that Nigeria is the largest producer of oil in Africa, but we do not have functional refineries. The refineries that we have today, Buhari built 3 of them. The 4 refineries, he built 3 of them.
All right, hold that thought right there, and you can take part in our conversation. We're using the hashtag Africa Speaks and Nigeria Decides. Do you think President Goodluck Jonathan or the incumbent Goodluck Jonathan deserves another term in office? If yes, what are your reasons? And if not, what are those reasons? We'll now take a short break, and we'll be back to talk about how the continent's most populous nation would move forward if it wasn't for Goodluck Jonathan as president going forward. So do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Africa Speaks, and we are discussing Nigeria Decides, or the Nigeria elections that are happening today. And earlier we did speak to Robert Nagila, who was on the ground in Kano State in Nigeria, and he did tell us that it was too close a call with these elections, because what we're seeing now is the two candidates being at 42% support on either side. So that is too close a call, and he was predicting a second round of elections. But is that necessary, and is it going to happen? The election outcome is going to give us better results on how to analyze that situation. Joe, let me come to you. From what we had discussed earlier, we're looking at Nigeria being the continent's most populous nation, and yet at this point in time we are not seeing satisfaction from at least half of the population in Nigeria. What do you read out of that?
Well, what I'm reading out of that is that actually, as I said earlier on, I wouldn't say that Jonathan has performed excellently right, okay? But at the end of the day, he hasn't done anything so bad as well. And for Buhari to be the only opposition against Jonathan, then I think there's no contention here, because he is absolutely not a change we need in Nigeria. Like my colleagues have just said, my friend have just said, he was not corrupt, he was not this, he was actually very corrupt, and is just a pretender. You pretend to be poor. How many poor people do we have on the street of Nigeria? Buhari wants to say he's one of them. Buhari is not one of the poor people. Let me tell you, Jonathan, you can't point to a building in Lagos or anywhere, or in Abuja for that matter, that this belongs to Jonathan.
But
Jonathan
isn't he entitled to that?
Right, he is. What I'm talking about is Jonathan is said to be corrupt, or maybe he condoned corruption. Jonathan is a man in Nigeria that he shouldn't live in Nigeria. He does not. He has not been in any scandal of any kind since he has been the president.
I think IK is disagreeing with you.
Right. Let me tell you, you may disagree, but the fact is that Jonathan today may not necessarily be everything about Nigeria, but he's a better candidate today. If Jonathan is better because Buhari is somebody we have known. He's got a record in Nigeria, and I said it. He was disputing it. The millions of Nigerians know that Buhari actually removed a democratically elected government of Shagari in Nigeria.
But you see, the problem I'm having right now is the fact that I'm asking you about Goodluck Jonathan, and you are countering it with Muhammadu Buhari, which means that there is little that you've seen that he has achieved in these past 5 years.
What I'm saying that Jonathan has not achieved excellently. But if there was anybody better than Jonathan today, I will support that fella. But
right.
I mean, he is a much better candidate. Let me just put it that way for today. We need a change. That's true. All the people in APC, let me tell you, all the people who spoiled the party APC and all the people who spoiled Nigeria as a nation, they were all in PDP government. All of them left and went to APC.
All right, let's just take a look at what some of the responses are right here. We're seeing some of them coming in from someone called Esther. She's saying what Nigeria needs right now is observation of human rights. That we have not seen in the past 5 years. Let's take a look at some of the other responses coming through right here.
Del Boy on Twitter says, why did he wait till elections before he realized he swore to protect us? Are majority of Nigerians' lives better now than 6 years ago? No. So I will vote Goodluck Jonathan out. Jeff Okoroafo says, today Nigeria and Nigerians are poorer than they were yesterday. That's not progression, that's retrogression. And Simon Chege says, that is what Nigerians will determine. At Jeff Okoroafo again says, there's a yearn in our hearts and minds. Those yearnings haven't got an answer. We want solutions, not promises. At Del Boy says, no, he is a negligent, incompetent individual that didn't perform when he had a second term incentive. Jeff Okoroafo again says, leadership is about empowering the people and creating more leaders. Has President Jonathan done so? No. Benjin Dolo says, no, he's uncertain, confused, hesitant. Let him go model Stetsons in New York. Africa needs leaders.
There we go. The different views of Nigerians and also people from around the continent. Now, I would like to hear what your final remarks are before we can bring in Rear Admiral retired, that is Harry Arogundade, if I got that right. Yeah, let's hear your final remarks.
My final remarks is that we don't need, the change we need in Nigeria is not Buhari. Everybody in that same party of Buhari were all in PDP, and they just defected all of a sudden, left and formed APC.
Isn't
So
that just what politics is about? It's a dirty game.
If it's not, then what are they going to? How are they going to convince us that they are the change we need in Nigeria? They are the same old people who left PDP just yesterday, and they're forming APC today, changing from a vehicle to another vehicle. Does that mean a change? If I'm a driver in a vehicle, as I said, and I change from one vehicle to the other, does it mean that that is a change? That isn't a change. These are the same old people that spoiled Nigeria, left PDP. That is very good. That was good for PDP. Went to APC to form APC, now trying to convince Nigerians that it's a change.
Now that you're not in Nigeria, do you think that your one vote is going to affect the outcome?
Well, it may not necessarily affect the outcome, really.
All right.
It won't affect it.
Ike, what are your final remarks?
You know, even from Twitter, and you know, you've seen clearly everybody's yearning for change, and what Mr. Oladimeji is saying now has actually been the tone of their campaign. They haven't actually told Nigerians what to do. They are dwelling on the personality of Buhari. And I'll tell you clearly, Nigerians are tired of corruption. Nigerians are tired of ineptitude. Nigerians are tired of a leader, a so-called leader that has no interest of Nigerians at heart. And that's why we want to change, and that's why we're voting General Buhari. And he's saying moving from a car to another car is not change. I think it's change. If you move from a Probox to a Ferrari, it's change.
The same
changing.
The same
You know, so the fact is the driver, Jonathan is driving a Ferrari, and Jonathan cannot drive a Ferrari. He should be riding a bicycle. He's incompetent and cannot be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we need somebody with competence to come and handle the affairs of Nigeria. That's why we're going for Buhari.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being with us on the show. We do appreciate. Now, we're just going to, usually on Africa Speaks, we do play an African sound. And now that we're talking Nigerian issues, we're still here on Africa Speaks. We're discussing Nigeria Decides, the elections that are happening today in the continent's most populous nation. And of course, everyone is all eyes on Nigeria, and that is because the outcome of the elections is going to change everything about Nigeria. Either the stability, are we going to see it improve? Are we going to see corruption come down? Are we going to see change in Nigeria? And are we going to see the economy growth going up? That is some of the issues that we are looking at, of course. And joining me now yet again is Rear Admiral retired Harry Arogundade, who is here as well to talk to us about matters security in Nigeria and also what is best for Nigeria at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us. It's such an honor to have you in studio. I would like to hear from you, from your military background. How would you evaluate security on the African continent?
You see, what I find very shocking about the average African country is that our attitude, our perception of threats is very shallow. I was just speaking to some of my guys in the US a couple of days ago after the Tunisian incident, calling for assistance and such things, because the threat perception in the continent is very low. We tend to we are not proactive. You know, we react after the fact, after the incident. So, generally speaking, the threat perception in the continent, in most of the countries, maybe South Africa being an exception, is very low.
And looking at the Nigeria Army Force in general, how would you evaluate the strength that they have in fighting Boko Haram, for instance?
Without being too patriotic, I still believe that the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Armed Forces, is still one of the best in the continent. We might have had some challenges, but thankfully, those ones are already been addressed. You know, but I still believe we still own one of the best forces.
All right. You talked about the army has been too patriotic. When you say too patriotic, do you think they should have been less patriotic in this case?
I said without me being too patriotic, right? The Nigerian army, the Nigerian armed forces, is still one of the best in the continent,
Right.
not in the world.
We've also seen some reports saying that the reason as to why the Nigeria armed forces have failed in the fight against Boko Haram and kicking them out, especially of the northern part and the entire Nigeria, is because there is corruption embroiled inside the Nigeria armed forces. Is that true? Does that hold any water?
I won't say categorically that there is corruption, right? There are a few bad eggs here and there, you know. But like I mentioned earlier, we've had some challenges in the armed forces, especially in our battle against Boko Haram. But those challenges right now have been addressed. And that's why you are seeing a lot of recovery of captured land.
Right.
from them.
All right, let's get into that recaptured land. The elections were postponed precisely because they said that the Nigerian army needed time to recapture some of the territories that had been previously captured by Boko Haram. How has that fight gone in trying to recapture some of those territories?
Oh, we have, I think we've gotten back 90, possibly 95% of the captured territories. So I think the postponement, for the reason given, I think that has been tackled now.
Right. And looking at you and your military rankings and the time that you've spent in Nigeria's Navy force, do you think that there is more that needs to be done to be able to fight the current insecurities ongoing in
sure.
Nigeria? What needs to be done?
Like everywhere in the world, we need to spend more money on security, because without security there is no development, right? We do have to do the training, right? We have to do the equipping, that is getting more equipment for the military. I think we address all these faults right now, as I call them. We will get there.
All right. I love the fact that you are attaching security to economic growth as well. And in this case, I would like to know from you, Nigeria going forward, what kind of leader would best lead the country to stability and to economic growth?
A good leader.
When you say a good leader, what do you mean? Let's look at the
leadership
Nigerian
is the same
perspective.
anywhere in the world. A good leader is a good leader. One that's not corrupt, very straightforward, that can be a role model to the young people and in fact the whole country as a whole, right? God-fearing.
Right. When you say God-fearing and also when you say one who is not corrupt, looking at the two candidates, the main contenders, that is Goodluck Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari, who of them do you think has the mantle to carry Nigeria forward?
I may have to refuse to answer this question. One, because I'll be biased, because I was in the military, so was Buhari, you know. So the tendency is for me to want to support him,
Right.
you know, spirit de corps, as we call it. So let me just leave it at that.
Okay, let's leave it at that, like you say. But you're not in Nigeria today, and so you've missed out on casting your vote. Were you a registered voter or military man, just like in any other African country?
No, I'm
You're
not
not allowed to
registered.
vote.
I wasn't in the country when we were doing the registration. I was in the US.
Okay.
Right, and I wish I register, but I take the next opportunity to register because I'd like to have a voice who rules me.
Right. Okay. And there've been a lot of reactions, especially with the challenges that Goodluck Jonathan has faced, especially when it comes to fighting corruption and also stabilizing the country because of the different terror attacks carried out by Boko Haram. And this probably could be one of the reasons as to why his popularity has gone down over the past 5 years. But as we wind up, what would be your final remarks to the people of Nigeria who are watching us right now online, and of course to everybody who is watching the show? What would be your final remarks in regard to the future of Nigeria?
I've always said that we have the brightest future. Right? What we need is that political will, right? For us to actually get there. We have everything that you need. Any country in the world. We have the human resources, we have the natural resources, we have the blessings of God. So I've always believed that we have not gotten there yet, but I pray that in my lifetime, Nigeria gets to its destination.
Well, thank you so much. We do appreciate the time you've taken to come share with us your views regarding security and stability in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Pleasure and privilege.